And hello there. Welcome back to the second episode, which is now broadcasted through video.
It's good to be back.
It is just recently, big holidays that just passed. There was St. Patrick's Day and happy Holi. Holi. Now, for those of you that don't know what Holi is, it's a Hindu holiday. It's one of the second largest festivities after Diwali. And it's normally known as the Festival of Love, Festival of Friendship, and starting anew. Now, since India is a big, it's a massive country, different parts of different regions celebrate holidays differently. Like, for example, in the Sikh community, they have something, instead of calling it Holi, it's Hula Mohala, if I pronounce that correctly, or known as Warrior Holi. But in the Sikh community, they have this cool thing where instead of throwing colors and spraying everyone with water, they have this martial arts display that goes back to the 17th century.
Mm-hmm.
So some ancient art technique. I checked it out. I'll put a link below if people want to look at what that looks like. Really interesting stuff. And St. Patrick's Day that recently passed. I did a little research on St. Patrick's Day, and I thought, it has to be more than just drinking
More than
and
just
partying.
the color green and
yes,
drinking.
the commercial, the marketing, yeah. So I looked at it, and so St. Patrick was one of the first. I believe he was one of the first apostles that brought Christianity to Ireland, and so March 17th commemorates the day of his death, which was, I believe, March 17th, 429. I'm not sure if that's BC or AC, but that's the year. That's the year. But yeah, so March 17th is the commemoration of Christianity in the Irish community. So
Great.
yeah, and since we're talking about love and friendship and forgiveness, we're gonna get into the nasty stuff, relationships.
Yes. Let's get into it. And thank you for those fun facts, Juan. Definitely check out the links below. If you guys are interested. It's really interesting stuff. But yeah, let's get into it, Juan. So this episode, we're going to be talking a bit about relationships and dating and all sorts of things within those realms. So let's start at the beginning. Okay. So like getting into a relationship. One thing that we hear a lot, especially in today's day and age, is about red flags. So what are some red flags that you sort of look out for when you're dating someone and you're progressing and you're sort of moving toward like getting into a relationship and stuff? What are some of the red flags or what's a really big red flag that might come up that might sort of deter you from that? So for me, one big one is like inconsistencies. So, the person that you're dating or talking to, if they've shown like a sort of pattern of inconsistency early on, more than likely the entire relationship, if you get into a relationship, will be filled with inconsistencies. And that's a little bit, for me, it can be a little bit of a almost like a game and a little bit confusing.
Like you give them, like you have 10 lives left.
No, not like that. But just like, okay, so when I say inconsistencies, let's have an example. So for an example, if someone you're talking to is talking to you every other day, let's say, or every day, or you hang out every other day, maybe every weekend or something like that. And then all of a sudden that stops for like a week. You don't hear from them. You don't see them. And then the next week they're back.
Oh, okay. No, see, it's a booty call, but
okay.
But you can call it that.
I mean, oh yeah, definitely can be that. But regardless of what it is, it's even if it's not, if it's just like the person is just like really inconsistent about that kind of shows that they're like not sure about you, and maybe they're weighing other options.
Yeah, they most likely are. I know I probably do that every now and then. but I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm in that,
Yeah.
like, I am focused on what I'm doing, so I'm not really paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I'm talking to someone and we hit it off good, I'm just like, okay. It's like you said, you weigh your options. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone does that too. They just,
Mm-hmm.
either even if they're not in the looking phase, they still weigh their options.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a good point you brought up too, though. Because you're not looking for a relationship, and you said that you do that from time to time. So, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like if you're not looking for a relationship, but
Yeah,
that's a way to know that someone might not be looking for a relationship. You know. And so if you are, then you can kind of
you have to invest.
yeah.
You have to really commit yourself. Like if you're both vibing, then yeah, make the commitment, make the appointment, take her for some ice cream or whatever you want to take this person out to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, relationships are, I would say, maintenance. It's like washing the
Yeah.
dishes in the kitchen. It's an everyday
Oh,
thing.
is it that daunting?
It's an everyday thing. Okay, like there's like it's that bit of effort. Like there's communication, there's constant compromise.
Yeah.
Um,
I think when you're actually like into the person and that's a relationship is what you want, those sorts of things will most of the time come natural. So it
no, yeah, yeah.
doesn't really feel like a chore or like, oh, I gotta
No,
keep up, I gotta keep up with this,
but when it starts off, it has to start like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want it to turn into something, you got to keep on it, and then when you have, then you finally pop the question, whether the girl pops it, the guy pops it, whoever pops the question, and so yeah, so once the relationship starts, then yeah, like you said, it comes natural, and it'll be easier to just have that communication flowing.
Yeah, definitely. So that was just we just wanted to touch briefly on the parts leading up to getting into a relationship. But so let's talk about once you're in the relationship now. So what are some of the main things that are big priorities when you're in a relationship? For me, I think the number one would be communication. Um, I don't know how important that is to you, Juan. Would that be like in your top few things?
Yeah, yeah, definitely my top view, and only because you know if you both grew up differently, you express love differently. The communication is
Yeah.
important to understand how you both function.
Yeah, definitely. And you're both going to be navigating challenges and different sorts of things in your individual lives and then in your life together as well. So you have to sort of be able to communicate both aspects with your partner if you're going to have a healthy functional relationship, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the communication part. So I read into this article from thelist.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's titled "Things Women Are Avoiding." Things women are avoiding while dating in 2022. And one of the
Yeah.
top ones is immature uh, situation.
Uh-huh.
More women are, I think they're being more. I think I won't say aggressive, but I think they're being more.
I would say adamant.
Yeah, about
Mm-hmm.
what they want when they first start meeting that special person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm curious to know what do you do on the first date? Like, do you ask them like very difficult questions or?
Um I I don't on the first date. I wouldn't say like very difficult questions, but definitely those like questions about the person's character and their like values and stuff like that. I personally don't think I would ask like, do you want to get married? Do you want kids? That sort of thing up front, which I don't think there's necessarily a problem with it, but like just personally, those those are the sorts of things that I would ask as opposed to like, do you want a long-term relationship? Do you want to get married? Do you want kids? Right away. Like obviously, once you are like dating that person or like once you're really considering dating that person maybe, but
Mm.
what about you?
Well, hell, so is there like a red flag for you? Like if there's something that you're like, oh hell no, this is a deal breaker for me.
Um yeah, I think it depends what you're looking for. Like
Oh yeah.
if you're looking for a long-term relationship, I think a sort of red flag would be someone saying, "Oh, I really just want to have fun right now, or I'm sometimes people blatantly say like I'm not looking for anything serious, or and just like more sort of basic, not not red flags, but for me they're sort of deal breakers is if someone has children.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a stepmom?
I do not.
Um,
I mean there's nothing wrong with it, but
No.
just for me personally, like, yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of there's a decent amount of single parents out there.
Yeah.
So it's, you meet someone and then you realize, oh, they have a kid. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Junior. Hey, Sport. Bye.
Hey, bucko.
Bucko. Like, hey, we'll be friends. We'll be friends. I'll be the godfather, but I'm not, as far as I'll go. No, for me, it's, I'm not really like being picky on that. I'm kind of in the middle. Like, maybe depending on the person. Like
On like if they have kids.
Yeah, like I think if
Uh-huh.
they're mentally mature, like if they're not crazy, then
That's always a plus.
Yeah.
Sanity.
Yeah, because you also kind of think like, why are they single in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to ask yourself and assess.
Yeah, like maybe sometimes there's a deadbeat father doesn't want to be in the kid's life. Those exist,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
but you also never know what's going on with the other partner. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle for that. So I'm not really too particular about that.
Mm-hmm. I think one other like sort of smaller red flag that it wouldn't like, make me like, oh no, but I would be like kind of skeptical is like someone who recently just got out of a relationship or like recently just got their heart broken or something like that. That's, yeah. Because people, for most of the time after, like directly after a situation like that, people are in like a certain like kind of mind space,
Yeah.
which is kind of tricky, can be tricky.
Yeah, like Shawnee, let's take a selfie. I could put it on Instagram for my ex to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's real.
I
That's
moved
definitely real.
on. Look who, look at this chick.
Yeah, people really do that, like
Yeah.
to show, they've moved on or like
Moved on.
they have a rebound or whatever, or, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think after I got out of my relationship, I stayed away from the whole rebound thing. I'm like, no, just focus on your stuff. Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Rebuild yourself. Make yourself stronger. Was it faster? But yeah, just focusing on your goals and what you're after. That's
Yeah.
that's
I think that's the best way
Yeah.
to go about it. Yeah.
yeah, learning to love yourselves first. I think a lot of people some people, I don't know if everyone does this, but a good chunk, they would, after a relationship, they jump into the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And they don't
Yeah.
give themselves that time to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, everyone do their thing.
Yeah, I know a couple people like that, and I get it to an extent, but also like you said, you don't really have time to grow and like reflect on what happened, and a lot of times you play a part in, like, both parties usually play a part in it, even if one party has more to do with it. You can always like reflect on the part that you played and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And so in this article, they also has a section called surprising things guys find unattractive.
let's get into that.
This is going to be a fun one. Wearing a ton of makeup can turn men off.
Really? Is that accurate, Juan, from your perspective?
I think there's all kinds of guys out there that have different needs and wants. But for me,
Of
it's a
course.
deal breaker when I can see the mask foundation right here. Like, that's one. Like, you see that line.
Make sure you blend, ladies.
Yes, but some of them are getting pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, for me, it's not a big deal. If they want to wear makeup, go for it. I hear
Mhm.
it's called art.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I like wearing I like doing makeup, so I'll wear makeup. I don't wear a lot, but I mean, I wear however much I feel like wearing at that moment in time. And I think most women don't wear makeup for men. They wear it for themselves because they feel more confident, or they just feel like expressing themselves differently that day, or they
Yeah.
just have fun doing it.
Yeah,
So-
and I think like this article summarizes, it's just, I think it's corresponding to those that overestimate the amount of makeup, like just way too much. that's
like
what
overdo it.
that's what they would suggest as a turnoff to guys.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would say, yeah, okay, that's true. Like if it's way too much to the point where, you're doing like 4 layers on your eyelashes. Like you're trying to do a rainbow, like black, blue, and
Oh,
the eyelashes are like flapping wings.
yeah.
Yeah, the minute the eyelashes can tickle your cheeks when you're that close to that person, it's a little too long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people like what they like. Different strokes for different folks. So
Yeah. So what do you consider? What would you consider a toxic trait in a guy?
a toxic trait.
Yeah.
A toxic trait that I have experienced
Mm-hmm.
would be gaslighting, which has
Ooh.
is I feel like that's a really like popular term in today's society. I don't know how popular it was like a couple of months ago. I mean, a couple of years ago, but I personally hear that sort of thrown around a lot these days. But yeah, for anyone who is unsure, gaslighting is basically sort of taking someone's thoughts and feelings on something and kind of flipping it and sort of invalidating them and making that person think that
They're in the wrong.
they're in the wrong. Exactly.
Yeah, and you are the victim, the manipulator.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I took a training on that before I went to San Jose State, and they explained that, like verbal abuse, all that,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, some crazy stuff. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would have to say possessive. I think it's close to the same thing.
Possessive.
Yeah, possessive. Like it's me or no one else, kind of thing.
Okay. So like she's really possessive. With
Yeah, yeah. Like if she's really possessive, like doesn't want to give you your time for yourself,
you. Mm-hmm.
that's when that's like, oh hell no, it's not gonna end well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna end well.
So on that note, so for an example, say like the person that you're dating, you want like one day you want to hang with your friends, do something with your friends or something,
Yeah.
and the person that you're with is like, oh, I really would prefer to like spend the day with you. Like I really want to spend time with you, and I really want to see you. Is that like a red flag, or is that sort of, or do you kind of think about that as like, oh wow, like this person's really interested in me and really into me, and that's kind of like it feels good, you know? Or is it just like, oh no?
Like that's it, run. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's it depends on how I guess the situation is. Like if I'm with that person for a good while,
Mm-hmm.
then I'd be like, okay, I guess. But
you don't really want
no, yeah, like you said, I think it feels good to be loved, so that's great. But also, you need to have that healthy space for yourself,
a balance.
healthy balance. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like obviously, if you go out with your friends, you're going out with in mind that someone else is hoping you don't do anything stupid.
Mm-hmm.
When you're out there. So, I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a total bad thing to have that kind of love, but yeah, no, I would say, yeah, sure, let's go do something then. It's yeah. Which
You don't sound very enthused.
no, but of course I would be enthused. I would put the energy in and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell the guys, all right, we'll just do something some other time.
Yeah.
Because yeah, but it also depends on how much time have I spent with this person already.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like
yeah.
if I already spend with her time so like every single day, and then this happens, then I'm like,
Yeah.
that's when it becomes a red flag. That's just like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
like you're right here, like I got you. You can't breathe without me.
Got you in a chokehold.
Exactly. That's when it's a big no.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Have you ever met someone? Okay, have you ever dated a guy who loves gossip?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like guys are a lot of times guys are bigger lovers of gossip than women.
It's part of the listening process. Yeah.
Sure.
We have to. Like it's like when you ask your partner, how was your day, and then you just ramble on. We're part of it. One important rule one thing I did learn though, like if you ever ask your partner how was their day and they start rambling on, for guys, women don't want to hear your opinion on some things. Like they just want you to listen. That's one thing I learned. Like if you're telling him like, yeah, this happened. Oh, what you should do? Like no, just Like, just listen.
Well, I guess some women.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes. But I
sometimes.
think it's if she asks you for the opinion, then you
Yeah.
give your 2 cents. But if she's just unstressing, getting all load off for her, then you just listen. It's because
Yeah, that's safe.
it's different. Like some guys, if you're talking, or someone who has an ego, the thing will happen. The person will open up, like, "How was your day?" And if they had a bad day, they'll start talking about how bad their day was. It's like, yeah. But let me tell you how my day went. You know,
Yeah.
like my day was fucking fantastic. Like,
Yeah. Just flip it.
so it's important to listen. So yeah, I think gossip is healthy, ish, depending on what kind of gossip it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like that's listening to gossip. How about like engaging in gossip?
Oh,
That I've seen that too.
yeah, especially if you know like her friend circle like decently, and then something comes up, and yeah, you're just part of that conversation
No, I mean like your own though. Like guys gossip
about their life.
maybe not about their life, but maybe about like their relationship or about their friends, or their friends gossip about
Oh,
like their girlfriends, whatever.
well, we will never tell you everything.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
We're no fools.
like, yeah, like, you're with the boys, you can be like, dude, I'm fucking stressing, bro. Like, this chick, she just like
Yeah, see,
like some days I just wanna
exactly. Exactly, yeah.
I wanna go camping, run away, go far away.
Yeah,
And I'm
see,
pretty sure girls are the same.
yeah, no, yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying the sort of stigma is that it's women who are like the gossipers, and like, but men definitely do it as well.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
they do to a healthy point.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, okay, here's another little part of the article. Having no life can make guys think you're unattractive.
Okay.
How's that make you feel?
Um,
Like if you were to meet a guy, right? He had no.
and I had no life.
If he had no life.
Oh, he had no.
like is that I think what it means, like if they don't have their shit together, they don't have like their own circle, like they have to be with you 24/7.
Yeah, they don't really have their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think that would make me a bit less attracted to the person, if I'm being honest. What about you?
Yeah. No, big time. Because, if I'm doing something, I don't want to be bothered every day. Like, especially if I'm at work. If I'm at work and that person's, can I call you? Be like, I'm at work. What do you, like, no, I can't just stop working and then talk to you for an hour about some show you're watching, fucking Euphoria or whatever.
Oh, God. Don't get me started on that show. But anyways, yeah, I think that kind of ties back into what we sort of touched on earlier, is like having balance in your relationship. Like you can't have your relationship be your entire life. Like you have to have a life outside of that. Like what was your life before you got into that relationship, You can't just drop that because you got in a relationship with someone.
That's who you are. I think there's also there's a couple of videos I've seen on Instagram where, like, whether the guy or girl, they're talking about like, this was me before a relationship and this is me now. That shouldn't have to happen. You should still be yourself. There's no reason why.
Like you can develop and grow with that person, and change some things, but you still have to be. You definitely have to be a whole person. You can't rely on that person to make you happy. To be like people talk about like being like, this is my other half, and they say it like, that's kind of thrown around a lot, but
that means different things. Other half can be, this is the person I'm sharing my life with, so we're gonna compromise on certain things. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Versus, this is my other half, I can't live without them. That's no.
That's where it's really toxic and unhealthy.
Yeah, and that's where the stalkers are born.
Oh. Yeah, and that's when you get in those kinds of situations where if something happens, God forbid, if something happens and that relationship ends, you're like really lost, and you're at like ground zero, like rock bottom. So.
Yeah, and Another thing that you mentioned here is having no purpose or ambition seems unattractive. And I think this one goes both ways.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we talked about this a while back. Like,
We did, yeah. 'Cause we're both really ambitious and like sort of goal-driven people. So we like, as someone who is ambitious and goal-driven, you would want the person that you're with, like your partner, to be that same way, to like sort of have something that they're working towards, a dream, a passion, all those sorts of things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely a big thing to have, someone that's after their goals. And there's like this stigma out there that's like, if women have her shit together, remember that she don't need you, like you need her. I don't know. It's just, have you
Yeah.
heard? Have you seen that being thrown around?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if a woman has shit together, remember she doesn't need you. I'm like, well, then that's not a relationship. That's just like, you're my water bottle. I'm carrying you around just cause I can.
Yeah. Wait, what are you saying that?
No, like I'm saying that mindset, like that saying, like whether it's a
Mhm.
man or a woman who have their shit together, they don't get into a relationship because they just for the fuck of it.
Yeah.
Like they're actually committed to this person. Just because someone has his stuff together and someone else doesn't mean the person who doesn't have their stuff together doesn't have the attention of the partner who has their stuff together.
Yeah.
So that's where like I'm like, okay, so if a woman has her stuff together, doesn't mean that she's just with you because she can, like, oh, she can replace you in a heartbeat. Like,
Yeah.
no, there's a reason why you're in a relationship with this person.
Mhm.
You have their attention, but it helps
Yeah.
to have both of them, of course, having goals and
Mhm.
objectives in mind. Bad mouthing your ex is not a good look. I think that's true, especially if a girl's doing it.
Oh, I think that's 100% true. But why do you say especially if a girl's doing it?
You got me on the red. Well,
Red flag.
I would say, yeah, no, yeah, that's why though. It's a red flag because if they're talking about their ex, whether it's a guy or girl, they haven't gone past that self-love phase. Like they haven't gone to the part where they need to be mentally. Like they're still stuck kind of in the past.
Yeah.
I remember I took an interpersonal class, psychology class, and they asked us the question: should your girlfriend or boyfriend still be friends with their ex? And resoundingly, a lot of the women the girls who were women, sorry, in that class, were in college, no longer girls, they're women.
We're adults.
Adults, yeah, young adults. They were in the class. They asked them, should your boyfriend be friends with their ex? Most of them said no, from personal experience, not because it's like this is my boyfriend, this is mine. No, it was because they allowed that to happen, and maybe out of 7, because it was like 8 people who shared their story. Out of those 8, like 5 of them said that they got dumped and their boyfriend got back with their ex
Mhm.
because of that friendship.
Uh-huh.
So that's where, yeah, it becomes a dangerous thing because if they talk about their ex, are they still talking to their ex? Where does that put you if you start, committing to a relationship?
Yeah. So what's the distinction between like a woman doing it and a guy doing it? Or is there not?
Well, I'm not saying the guy should do it. Like, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, the guy should totally do it though. No.
So
like-
you mean you both like no for both?
No for both.
Right.
No for both. They both have
Mhm.
to move on.
Yeah. It's definitely like
You're about to be like, let me tell you something.
No. I'm just going to I was just going to say it's definitely like
No, yeah.
tricky waters when that happens.
Yes.
And especially because someone being friends with their ex, they probably have a really strong connection, and that's probably why there's still a friendship there.
Mm-hmm.
So it can definitely probably feel uncomfortable for the new person that they're in a relationship with, I would think. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then there's also there's such a thing as being too needy. Is there such a thing as being too needy?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
there definitely is. And what do you think is like where you've reached an extent where you're too needy?
Like when they ask you questions for just about everything. Like the saying, Google it, but like, yeah, I guess the point you're like, okay, we're both adults. Let's figure these things out. Like like if I'm learning how to do something, I want to teach myself first, and then I'll ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are, uh, but when you're constantly just bugging this person, you're being too clingy, you're being too needy. Like, oh, I need this, I need that. It's always like the puppy eye thing. Like I'm hungry, but I don't know what to eat, and you're just like, well, cook something, like do something. I don't know. What do you
How about you though? Like from your perspective, have you ever like felt yourself being too needy, or like have you ever like thought, oh, I don't want to appear too needy, so I'm gonna, and like what's like, and can you think of like, does an example come to mind of like when you might have like refrained from doing something that you were gonna do, or like hitting your girlfriend or someone you're talking to up about something because you're like, this might make me seem a little bit too needy?
Yeah, doing my taxes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, for me, it was like if you're filling out important documents and you gotta figure things out. Because at first I was used to this person to help me out with some things, and then later on I'm like, okay, I should, do it myself now. Like it's time to, we ask too many questions now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Yeah, and I think there's also another kind of needy example, like when, like they have to be next to you, like if you're shopping or something. It's like, all right, you do your shopping, I'm gonna go look around somewhere else. Like you don't have to be together all the freaking time. Like you can kind of both do your thing, and
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And another one, people playing hard to get.
Yeah. What's your perspective on that?
I have to say, I don't try anymore if they play hard to get.
Oh, if someone is playing hard to get.
Yeah, like if they're playing hard to get, then you're like, okay, cool, you be a bad bitch. I'm gonna go do my thing then. I'm not good.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't know if you noticed it, but in today's era, we've had OnlyFans. They had a boom in 2020, but then it had a decline, and there's this movement called the rise of the simps.
Yeah.
So now,
simping.
Yeah. So now men aren't just throwing away their hard-earned cash to some chick who's never gonna give them the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're now actually like, okay, I want to find myself a good woman. Like I want to find someone who actually gives a shit about me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure women are doing the same thing. Like they're tired of, the fuck boys. Now they're like, I want to.
Like fuck these fuck boys.
Yeah, and there's a lot of TikToks out there about 30-year-olds who are struggling to find a decent partner, especially women. And I'm like, why are they struggling? Like you look at these TikTokers, like they're beautiful, like these are attractive people. How are they struggling? And then you realize, oh, that's right. There's a lot of immature people out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think for the whole playing hard to get thing, I don't see the point of it. Like I feel like that's sort of on the more immature aspect that you mentioned briefly. I feel like just be upfront with people. If you like someone, like them and show them that you like them, and then if you don't, just don't, because what's the point of playing hard to get? Well, I have heard like this argument that, like from a woman's perspective, that there's like this narrative that guys prefer something that they have to sort of work hard for, or like they prefer like the chase or whatever. So I think that's where that sort of like playing hard to get concept kind of derives from. But I don't know. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. Here's another one. Always agreeing with him isn't attractive.
Yeah. You know what? When I was younger and in, my early dating years, I was like that. Like, I remember I was dating this person, and I was sort of like, would always agree with him, with, what he wanted to do and like what his opinions were and stuff. And he actually called me out on it once, and he was like, "So you can have your own opinion, you know. You don't have to always agree with me." And I was like,
let me tell you something.
I was a bit baffled for a minute because I was like, "What? But we're dating, you know? Like, I agree with you." So yeah, that was something like when I think when you're younger, that might be like something that you have to learn. But as an adult, you know, obviously have your own opinions. I have my own opinions all the time, and I'm not afraid to differ with my significant other. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. And I wouldn't mind, like, personally, I won't really care. Like, I would prefer that that my partner has an opinion. You know, we're both growing from it. We're both giving each other our 2 cents.
mm-hmm.
But of course, not to the point when it's like you're always wrong and I'm always right. It's like, being high maintenance can make you appear unattractive.
What do you define as being high maintenance? What do you think that is?
I would say not like being too afraid to get your hands dirty.
Like literally.
Let's go do some gardening or something. And they're like, oh no, I just got my nails done or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, see that? Well, I mean, everyone has their own preference.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own preference on what kind of person they want to look for. But for me, you know, if they're not someone who's willing to get their hands dirty to learn something, you know, like it's always like, let's pay someone to do that. Like, no, let's learn that instead. Like this, you know, like this podcast, like it's a learning process. And if that other person is like, I don't want to learn anything, it's like, okay, well, how are you gonna grow?
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you? What do you consider like high maintenance?
I would consider high maintenance sort of that, and then a little bit of that, and a little bit of like very materialistic, and just setting really high and sort of unreasonable expectations within the other person.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also heard like people considering high maintenance being like where you have to basically just put in more effort than usual, which I wouldn't consider that high maintenance. I would just consider that your own personal like standards, boundaries, whatever.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Cool. Here's the last one. Being smart may seem unattractive because of, I don't know. This is a weird one.
What is it?
So being smart may seem unattractive because of ingrained gender roles.
That's a good one. So my question for you, Han, from a from a male perspective is there is also this narrative that I've heard of like you don't want to be too smart or appear to be too smart as a woman because like
what?
The man that you're dating or talking to might feel that that's like intimidating, or you know, like that article says, it's unattractive because you're intimidated by it.
Wow. Well, I would say I don't mind a smart girl. Like I would prefer her to be smarter than me, for a lot of good reasons. Because if she's my Wikipedia or dictionary that I could use as a source, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. But I think it's better when you have someone who's smart or who's willing to put in some critical thought. Like that's good because you're both gonna help each other out. Because shit's gonna hit the fan. In life, that's just what it is. So you want to have someone that knows how to keep a cool head and is intelligent about her decisions. To for the both of you to get yourself out of your pickles or the hole you dug yourself into. I don't have a problem with it. I'm sure other guys will be intimidated because cultures are different. People are raised differently. A child could look at their father being the super machista in the household.
Mm-hmm.
The mother don't question things, and they can grow up with that narrative. Maybe it changes. I don't know. Again, there's a wide of opinions out there. And I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem when they become a smartass. That's when I would say, like, fuck you, shut up. Now you're just being a smartass.
there's got to be a balance. I mean, sometimes you just want to be a smart ass and you want to have that little banter.
If there's a healthy balance is good, but
healthy
not
balance.
like every damn time, like to the point where they make you feel really stupid. That's I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to Home Depot. I'm gonna go figure this out.
Yeah, definitely. Also, like I've been in like a situation where I felt like I couldn't share certain things with with the person because they sort of made me feel like I was like bragging or like, just like it just felt like it was oversharing or like,
Yeah.
So, in those situations, I personally would say run for the hills.
Run for the hills, hide your kids, hide your wife. No, yeah. There's all kinds of people out there and I think there's also, an idea of like, oh, I'm never gonna find someone. Like, no, you'll find someone. It just takes time. Focus on yourself. And I think I remember a couple of my coworkers in the past. They might have mentioned that when you're not looking, the right person usually comes. Just let it. Just take your time. Focus on yourself. Have fun in life. Don't be a negative Nancy.
Yeah.
And if people have, I know there's people that would come out of traumatic relationships, and that just, creates a wall. Like, never again.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are really good points. And I would say too, like, also don't like settle and like when you're thinking, oh, I'll never find the person for me or that kind of thing. Then a lot of people just end up, like settling for, oh, this person likes me, so I might as well,
The first one that gives you a kiss emoji.
Yeah, and that's like the worst thing you can do. Like just wait, keep your boundaries, your priorities, and like know your worth, and just like you said, keep working on yourself because you can always better yourself.
Yeah, and it's okay to say no.
Oh yeah,
it's okay to say no if that person's like really into you, but if you're not really feeling it, just be honest. Just I mean, don't be harsh about it. Just be like, yeah, you're cool, but
yeah, just be upfront, but nice.
Yes, be upfront and nice. Coolio. Well, that just about wraps up this episode of relationships. The next one, I guess we'll just dive into some trending topics, and just we're just gonna have fun the next episode as well. So, thank you all for joining us. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and keep an eye out for any future episodes. Thank you again. I'm Juan.
I'm Shawnee, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well at _RealTalkSJ. And you can also send us any DMs there on any topics that you would be interested in hearing us discuss.
Yep. So until next time, guys, take care.